Hi guys! Today I will show you how to crochet these shorts, a perfect item for summer. The pattern is pretty simple with instruction for multiple sizes from the extra small to the double XL. You can customize the length of the legs in any way you want. It can be mini shorts or a little longer like biker shorts, and if you extend the legs all the way to the ankle, it will become a pair of pants. Even though this is a beginner level tutorial, it is not absolute beginners friendly. You will need to be already familiar with basic things like slip knot, chains, or double crochet. I've made a list of crochet projects for absolute beginner, so if you've never crocheted before, you can find the list down in the description. Now before we get right into the work, let's see what we need to prepare. For this project, we're gonna need TK yarn with the 5.5mm crochet hook. Then of course we're gonna need scissors, yarn needle, and one stitch marker or a bobby pin. If you need my recommendation for types of yarn that's suitable for summer garment, you can find it in the description of this video. I know that a lot of you guys would wonder about the waistband and how it fits. And the answer is the drawstring closure. Even though the crochet fabric does stretch, it is not elastic. So the only way for the waistband to fit and snap on your waist on its own is using elastic yarn, which is not very convenient because that yarn is very hard to find and also very hard to work with. On the other hand, the drawstring closure may look not very nice hanging in front of your outfit, and that's why we have a choice to put the drawstring into the wrong side of the piece. So after you put it on your body, you can fix and tie the string to the size of your waist, then tuck it back into the wrong side of the waistband. Also, you can see that I put some decorative ornaments here, the starfish. And to put it on a crochet piece, it's not as easy as it looks. If we just randomly put it on the fabric, then quickly sew the ornament on the piece, there's a very high chance that when you wear the piece on your body, the fabric would stretch out and would distort the shape of your ornament. So the tip is to first put the shorts on your body, then place the ornament where you want it to be, and then while everything's still on your body, you pin it down with maybe bobby pin or pin needles. Then you can take it off to sew the ornament fixed to the piece. A little bit about the material. You can see here that I use acrylic yarn. This is 100% acrylic yarn, which is very convenient to find and very easy to work with. But the perfect material for summer would be something cotton. And here I have an example. I really like how this feels. It is very cool and nice on your skin when the weather is hot. But it is not 100% cotton, so you only need something around 50% cotton. This is not TK yarn, this is actually category number 2, so the strand is kind of smaller. The fabric has more stretch to it and it's kind of more see-through, kind of lacier. You can still find yarn that is partly cotton, but DK, category number 3. First, we're gonna start with a number of chain, and this number depends on the size you're working on, so please follow the size instruction on the screen. We start with our slip knot and put the slip knot on our hook. Before you start it, keep in mind that for this pattern, we need our chain to be extra loose. So the loops on our hook should be bigger than the size of the hook. You're gonna loosen it up a little bit, like so, then yarn over and pull through for our first chain. Now loosen up the loop on our hook a little bit, yarn over and pull through for our next chain, And you're gonna keep doing that until you have your number of chain. Once we have our chain, we're gonna go ahead and join this chain into the round. And we will have to carefully do this because if you randomly join your chain, there's a high chance that the chain will be twisted and there's no good working in the twisted round. You're gonna first need to put this working yarn above and away from your chain, alright? Then from this end, you're gonna find the back of the chain all faced up like this, you see? The front of the chain with each chain shaped like little V, and then the back of the chain with little bump on each chain, okay? So hold on this end with the back of the chain face up like this, alright? And then you're gonna keep going with your chain with the back all face up until you get to the other end. You're gonna bring this end to the front of the chain, and here is where we're gonna join the chain into the round. Now to join the chain into the round, we're gonna slip stitch into this first chain. You see this first chain shaped like little V. This is the top loop of the V and this is the back loop of the V. You want to insert your hook right under that top loop, alright? Like so. Now for slip stitch, we're gonna yarn over and pull through both of these loops. So yarn over and pull through. Alright, now what we're gonna do is that we're gonna tighten up the slip stitch because you see that after you slip stitch to join around, it will create this kind of V that look like a chain. So we don't want to mistake this slip stitch as a chain, so we'll need to tighten it up like so to close it. Then we're gonna chain 2, 1 and 2. From now on, we won't need to loosen up the loop on our hook anymore, so just keep them close to the size of your hook. Now let's start our first round, and as you can see in the written pattern that we're gonna work double crochet into each chain across until the end. And for double crochet, you yarn over, insert your hook in the next chain. Here you can see this is the first chain that we slip stitch to join the round, and then we did a chain 2. Now we're gonna place our first double crochet into the second chain next to the first one, alright? Now for double crochet, yarn over, insert your hook in the second chain, draw our loop. You can see you have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and that is your first double crochet. Now repeat into this next chain, the third chain, yarn over, insert your hook right under the top loop of the V, draw our loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And we're gonna keep repeating that until the end of this chain. Be careful not to work more than 1 stitch in a chain because you see that our chain is a little bit loose, and sometimes if you're not careful, you're gonna work an extra double crochet into that same chain, alright? So moving on to the next chain next to this one, all the way until the end, and I will meet you right there to show you what to do next. I am at the end of my chain, and you can see that I have 3 chains left to work in. 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna finish my stitches into this next chain, this one, and this last chain. Now, just to make sure that you have the right number of stitches on your first round, I would recommend you to count the number of stitches you have. And don't forget to count this chain 2 in the beginning of your round as 1 stitch. So you're counting from this chain 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and so on until the end. And make sure that you have the same number of stitches as your size instructions. Now before we move on to our second round, we're gonna slip stitch into this first stitch to join the round. Now you see this is your chain 2, this is your first double crochet, and on top of it you will see this V, and that's where you want to insert the hook, right under the V on top of the double crochet, like so. And for slip stitch, you yarn over, pull through all the loops you have on your hook. That it's a slip stitch, and again we're gonna need to tighten our slip stitch. Okay, now we're gonna chain 2 and turn our work. For our second round, we're gonna start creating the ribbing for the waistband with front post and back post double crochet. The front post and back post double crochet is very similar to our double crochet. They are only different in where you insert your hook. Normally, we're gonna insert our hook under the V on top of the stitch, right? But for the post double crochet, we're gonna insert our hook around the post of the stitch. So this body of the stitch we call the post of the stitch, alright? For front post double crochet, we're gonna insert our hook from the front and around the stitch like this to place our double crochet. And for back post double crochet, we're gonna insert our hook from the behind and around the stitch like this. Now for double crochet, we yarn over, and front post double crochet, we insert a hook from the front and around the double crochet, around the stitch like so. You will want to hold on the bottom of your stitch so that it's easier to work with. Now with your working yarn, draw our loop to have 3 loops on your hook, just the same as the usual double crochet. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And that is the front post double crochet. Now back post double crochet, yarn over, insert the hook from the back and around the stitch like so. Remember to hold on the bottom of the stitch so that it's easier to work with, alright? With your working yarn, draw our loop. Hold on the bottom of your stitch, and you can pull it a little bit so that it folds into place. Okay, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now again, a front post double crochet, yarn over, insert your hook from the front and around the stitch, draw our loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So it is very simple. You will feel a little bit slow while working with front post and back post double crochet, but as you get used to it, it will get quicker and quicker. The only thing to keep in mind is that our first round we place on a very loose chain, so the stitch will drag the chain up a little bit like this. All you need to do is hold on to the bottom of the stitch and pull it down so that the stitch will stay nice and even. Now a back post double crochet, yarn over, insert your hook from the back and around the stitch like so, draw our loop. You see with the loose chain, our stitch got dragged up a little bit, so you pull on your stitch, okay? And finish your double crochet. And repeat the same process all the way until the end of this round. And I will meet you right in the end of the round to show you what to do next. You can see here that I'm at the end of my second round and I have 2 stitches left to work in, and let's do that. This is front post double crochet, so I work a back post double crochet here, and then our last stitch would be the front post double crochet. Alright. Now again, if you want to make sure, you should count the number of stitches you have, counting everything including this chain 2 as 1 stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. To finish the second round, we're gonna again slip stitch into the first stitch. So you insert your hook under the V on top of your first stitch, right there, and yarn over, and then yarn over and pull through all the loops on your hook. Don't forget to tighten your slip stitch. We're gonna do a chain 2 and turn our work. For our third round, we're gonna again repeat the process of the reaping stitches. You work a back post double crochet when you see a back post double crochet, and front post on the front post double crochet. So here you see a back post. We will work a back post double crochet there. So yarn over, insert your hook from the behind around the stitch, pull out a loop to have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And front post double crochet. You'll see that the process of working a stitch here would be a little bit easier because now that you have 2 rounds of double crochet, the bottom of the stitch is kind of sturdier, so you don't need to grab on the bottom of the stitch as much as before. So it's sure gonna get quicker this time. Okay, and keep repeating this until the end of this round. And again, I will meet you right there to show you what to do next. I'm at the end of this round and you will see that I have 3 stitches left to work in. Let's do that. The front post, and then our last back post double crochet. Alright, now again we're going to join this round with a slip stitch. Insert our hook under this first stitch that's next to this chain 2. Right there under the V on top of the stitch, yarn over with our working yarn and pull through all the loops on our hook. Remember to tighten up our slip stitch, and then we're gonna do a chain 2, then turn our work. On our next round, we're gonna work normal double crochet, not front post or back post anymore. You're gonna insert your hook under the V on top of each stitch. Alright, so you can see here, this is the first stitch of this front post double crochet, a double crochet right in there, alright, and double crochet into this next stitch, which is the back post, but we work a normal double crochet, so we're just going to insert our hook right under the V on top of it. Okay, yarn over and double crochet. We're going to repeat this same process, double crochet into each stitch across all the way until the end of this round right here, and I will meet you right here to show you what to do next. All right, okay, I'm at the end of this round, and as you can see I have 3 stitches left to work in. 1, 2, 3, and let's do that. Now I would recommend you to count the number of stitches you have on the round, just to make sure that you have the right number of stitches without working an extra stitch or skipping any stitch on the way. Let's finish this round with a slip stitch into the first stitch, tighten up our slip stitch, chain 2, and turn our work. Looking at the reading pattern, you will see that we're gonna work 2 double crochet into the first stitch and then double crochet into each stitch across until you're closer to the end, and work 2 double crochet into the last stitch. So let's do that. Place 2 double crochet in the same first stitch. So 1, alright, and 2 in the same stitch. Okay, then we're gonna work double crochet 1 in each stitch across, like so, all the way until the end of the round, and I'll meet you right there to show you what to do next. Alright, you can see that I'm at the end of this round and I have 3 stitches left to work in. So work double crochet into each stitch until your last stitch, and here we're gonna work 2 double crochet in the same stitch. That's 1 and then 2. And now we're going to join this round with a slip stitch into the first stitch. Again, the same way as we did before. Close our slip stitch, chain 2, and turn our work. You'll see in the reading pattern that we're gonna again work 2 double crochet in this first stitch. And then double crochet into each stitch across, 1 double crochet into each stitch, all the way until the end of the round, right here. And when we get to this last stitch, we're gonna work 2 double crochet in there. And even though there's nothing new, but I will meet you right there at the end to show you one more time what to do. I'm at the end of this round, and you will see that I have 1, 2, 3 stitches left. I work double crochet into each stitch until my last stitch, and in this last stitch we will work 2 double crochet in there, 1 and 2, and then again join our round with a slip stitch into the first stitch. Okay, chain 2 and turn our work. We're gonna repeat the same process as we did before. 2 double crochet into the first stitch, double crochet into each stitch across, 1 double crochet in each, and then when you get to the end you will work 2 double crochet into this last stitch. And the process will be just the same, there's nothing new, so please follow the reading pattern that I put on the screen for you. I'm at the end of this round, and you can see here that I have 2 stitches left to work in, and I'm gonna do that. Double crochet in this one and 2 double crochet in my last stitch. Okay, now before we move on to our next part of the pattern, I want to show you how it looks like by now. This is how everything should look like by now. This is gonna be the front of our shorts, and this is gonna be the back of our shorts. On our next part, we're gonna start creating the legs for our shorts. So we're gonna need to separate this whole piece into 2 parts, right? You will need a stitch marker to do this. Now, first, let's finish this round with a slip stitch to join the round. And remember to tighten up your slip stitch. Then you will need a number of chain. This will be the bridge chain that separate your whole piece into 2 parts so that we can start crocheting one leg, and then after that we will move to the other legs to finish the piece. So this bridge is a number of chain, and again this number will depend on the size you're working on, so you need to follow the number of your size instruction. Also, this bridge chain will be the base of the stitches. We will need to again loosen up each loop on our hook before we work up a chain. So let's do that. I'm working on a size small. My bridge chain will be 8. First, you will loosen up the loop on your hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now let's loosen up this loop on our hook a little bit, and I will show you how to mark the stitch to separate this piece into two. You're first gonna need to put your piece together like this. This is your bridge chain, alright? So you put it here like so. And you will need to estimate and mark the stitch that it's right in this corner. Alright, so here it will be this stitch, this one for me, and you mark the V right on top of that stitch. And then we will need to count the number of stitches on each side to make sure that they have the same number of stitches. To count this number of stitches, you will count all the stitches between the stitch that you mark and the chain 2 in the beginning of your last row. It's gonna be this one, this chain that it's under this bridge chain that you have here. So do not count this chain 2, and also do not count this stitch that you mark. We need to count the stitches between them. So starting from this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way until this stitch right next to the chain 2 right here, okay? And you want to write down this number of stitches. If you are following the size instruction of this pattern, it will be on the screen for you. And once you're done counting the stitches on this side of your piece, we will count the number of stitches between this mark stitch and this chain 2 on the other side. So starting from this stitch, okay, this stitch that right next to your mark stitch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way until the end, which is this stitch right next to the chain 2. And the number of stitches on each of this side should be the same number so that our legs will be nice and even, right? In case this number turned out to be a little bit different, maybe you drop a stitch or work an extra stitch somewhere and one side turned out to have one stitch more than the other, don't freak out. As long as this whole piece still look nice and even, one mistake it's not a big deal. So I will show you how to fix it. Have another stitch marker, mark a random stitch somewhere on the side that have one stitch less than the other side, and then on the next row, when you get to your mark stitch, you will work 2 double crochet in there so that you have one extra stitch on that side to be equal to the other side, and that's all. That's a little cheating and it's kind of naughty, but it's not illegal, so we can do that, alright? So after you counting the stitches and move the stitch marker if needed so that we have the equal number of stitches on each side of the piece, let's move on. Let's turn to where we are. Make sure that you still have the right number of bridge chain. Mine is 8, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's a little bit off here, so I'm going to redo that just to make sure. We're gonna slip stitch into this mark stitch, okay? You want to keep your stitch marker, so don't take it out right away at this moment. Put this working yarn behind your hook like this. Insert your hook in the mark stitch, and you want to draw our loop. Draw that loop through the loop on your hook, and then close, tighten your slip stitch. There you have it. You want to count the bridge chain again, just make sure that you still have the right number of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Mine it's 8, but you can be a different number, it depends on your size. Moving on, we're gonna chain 2, and this chain doesn't need to be loose. And you can see that our piece is now separated into 2 legs right here. We're gonna work one leg first and then move to the other legs later. And we are going to work our double crochet onto this bridge chain. And so you're gonna double crochet into each chain. If you see your chain a little bit twisted, you just have to hold on it so that it's easier for you to insert your hook. Make sure that whichever number of bridge chain that you have, in the end of the chain you should have that number of double crochet. Let's start with this first chain that I have right here. It's a little bit smaller because I tightened up the slip stitch here, so it took up a little bit of space. So if yours the same, it's fine. You just insert your hook right there and work a double crochet array like that, okay? And move on to the next chain. Make sure you don't work two double crochet in the same chain. And the next one. Okay, and you can see this is my last chain. Right? Now you will see here that whichever number of your bridge chain, you should have the same number of double crochet. And you count everything except this chain 2. So my bridge chain is 8, so I should have 8 double crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. With this chain 2, it would be 9 stitches, right? Let's start with this side of the leg. So the next stitch we will work in is this one, right next to this chain 2. That is the base of this bridge chain, all right? So this stitch right here, this double crochet stitch, a double crochet in there. And from now on, we're gonna double crochet into each stitch across, all the way, 1 double crochet into each stitch on your way until you get to the end of this leg, where you get right here close to the mark stitch. I will meet you right here to show you what to do next. Alright, so you can see here that I am close to the mark stitch. I have 1 stitch left before that stitch, so I'm gonna work 1 double crochet in this stitch, and here is where you want to join this round with a slip stitch into this first stitch next to this chain 2. You insert your hook and draw 1 loop out of all the loops on your hook. Remember to tighten your slip stitch and then do a chain 2. Turn your work, and from here we're gonna work double crochet into each stitch across until the end. And so the first double crochet, and then each stitch across all the way until the end. Even though there's nothing new, I will meet you right here to show you one more time what to do. You can see here that I'm closer to the end, and I now reach to the double crochet stitch that based on our bridge chain. And if you're confused here, there's nothing special. You're just gonna keep going, double crochet into each stitch all the way until the end. And you can see here that I have 1 stitch left before I get to this chain 2. Let's do that. And again, to finish this round, we're gonna join it with a slip stitch into the first stitch. Remember to tighten. We do a chain 2, turn our work, and again work double crochet into each stitch across all the way until the end. Slip stitch to join the round, chain 2, turn your work, And the process will be just the same. There's nothing new. So please follow the written pattern that I put on the screen for you. You can see that I'm at the end of this round and I've worked my last stitch, and I will now join this round with a slip stitch, then tighten up my slip stitch, and to bind off we will simply chain 1 and then we cut, leave a long enough tails to weave in later. Pull that yarn out and close it. Now let's move on to the other leg, and you would take your yarn and insert it in the mark stitch here. Insert your yarn in there and you want to tie it. Next, we're gonna insert our hook in this same place where we attach the new yarn, this mark stitch, and bring our loop. Then we're gonna need a chain 2, and then we're gonna start working our first double crochet into this bridge. And you can see here that on this bridge we already made a number of stitches for the other leg. Now we're gonna again work a number of double crochet stitches on that bridge for the other side of the leg. For each double crochet stitch on this bridge, we're gonna insert our hook in the bottom of the previous stitch that we put on this bridge. This is the chain, right? You'll see right under this stitch there is a space. That is where you want to insert your hook. Here under this one, and this is the first one, and the second one under this stitch right in this space, and then the next one, and then the next one. We will place one double crochet in each of this space. So this first double crochet, make sure you not mistake a double crochet with this chain 2 of the other leg. All right, so find this place, this double crochet, we need to place a double crochet in there. So right here, right under this stitch, a double crochet in here. That is our first one, and then the next one in this space under this stitch. And you can see that it's how it's like. And then the next one, and then the next one, and all the way. Make sure that each space you put one double crochet. And this one, here's the last one of the bridge. You can check and count the number of double crochet stitches on the bridge. Now we're gonna move on to the next double crochet that you work in next to this bridge chain. Okay, you will see here this one, and then this one. The first one would be this one. Work a double crochet in there and double crochet into each stitch across or around until we get close to this place, this chain 2, the end of this round, and I will meet you right there to show you one more time what to do. Alright, you will see here that I'm closer to the end of the round. I have 2 stitches left to work in. I'm gonna do that. in our marked stitch, we already have 2 chain 2, one for the other leg and one for this leg. So we're not going to work any other stitch in there. This is our last stitch. To finish this round, we're going to slip stitch into this first stitch of the round, the stitch next to the chain 2. Draw our loop, draw the loop through loop on our hook, tighten it up, chain 2, and turn our work. Now the process for the rest of the short will be just the same. There's nothing new. You're just gonna work double crochet into each stitch across until the end. Finish the round with a slip stitch, tighten the slip stitch, chain 2, turn your work, and repeat the same thing again and again until this leg gets to the same length of the other leg that we already did. You can count the rows from the bridge, or if you find it easier, you can count from the row under this ribbing waistband, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and compare it to the other side to get the even number of rows on both sides. I am at the end of this round. I have 1 stitch left to work in, and I'm gonna do that. Now join the round with a slip stitch, tighten the slip stitch, chain 1 to bind off, and close it. Here is how everything should look like. This is the back of your short, and this is the front of your short. You can take this off. Now I will show you how to do the drawstring closure for the waistband. So the drawstring, it's basically just a really long chain, and of course you start with a slip knot and keep chaining until you get a long enough chain, and this chain will need to be, of course, longer than this waistband. So let's just keep doing. Once you feel like your chain is long enough, you can check by folding this chain in half, and if it's halfway longer than your waistband, then it's already good to go, and we can just bind off by cutting it and pulling this loop out. Tight it, really tight it up. Make sure that this one is tightened too, and here you can just cut the tail off like so, and here you have your drawstring closure. Now I will show you how to put this on the shorts. It will be much quicker if you have this yarn needle that you can put the chain in. If your needle is not big enough to put it in, you can just do this with your bare hand, it's fine. You need to turn your short to the front like this. In order for the drawstring to be invisible, it basically means that you will hide the drawstring to the wrong side of the piece. You will need to put this string under the front post double crochet, alright? So you put it right here in the space in this very first round. You can do the second round, it's fine, but I prefer the first round. You're gonna find the middle of your shorts, and here I have this back post double crochet. I'm gonna insert my drawstring right under this front post double crochet, and just keep going like that all the way until this tail get right here, all the way. And if you don't have this needle, you can just use your bare hand by putting it in stitch by stitch under the front post double crochet. It's gonna be quicker if I have this needle. Alright, so you can see that I'm closer to the other ends of the string. This one, it's the last one. And you will find your string, the two end meets right here. You can put this out and pair them together so that they have the same length.